Howdy folks, just here working on getting the leaf in, as well as the 4-inch blocks on the back of the Super Duty here. So figure I'd just do a quick, I don't know, just walk you through what I've got going on here, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I mean, basically tonight just got her on the jack stands and soaking the well, let's see, all the nuts and everything really that I'm gonna have to loosen up for the removal and addition of these. So hopefully they come off a little bit easier. But I'll tell you, the little shock bolt down there definitely didn't come easy. Pretty darn seized in there. Should have probably just cut it out, would have been quicker instead of messing with it for 20 minutes or so. But got it out. Yeah, this shock mount there, as you can see, the lower, it's starting to rust pretty bad, getting some big flakes off of it. So probably grind that down a little bit while I got this out and touch it up with a little bit of Rust-Oleum. I don't know, might order new ones, because those look like they just bolt on with a U-bolt. So yeah, there's that. But so once again here, I am going to be replacing the factory block, which, you know, we can all see is right here. And then the leaf, I believe, is going to go in between this one and this one. So in between the pack and this overload in a way here. Then obviously you don't touch anything with the upper overload spring. So it's just going to go right into here. So I'm probably going to get about 2 3/4 inch, 2.5, somewhere in there, inch of lift off the rear with this. And then with the addition of the leveling kit in the front, and then having a gooseneck on here, it should be really close to level when towing. I had the gooseneck on here the other day and measured it before and after, and yeah, I think I got my measurements right here, so give you guys an idea of the squat with the trailer on. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see. So with the trailer on, it was sitting at 39 inches, and then without, it was at 41.5, and the front sits at 41.5. So I should be really close, I think, to level, especially once I have a loaded trailer on there. The trailer was pretty much empty, had a little bit of weight on it. So anyways, yeah, get those guys there, and then once I get the new blocks in and then the leaf, I'll measure for my shock to figure out how much longer I'm going to need. So right now that shock's fully maxed out on its length, and you can see that you'd probably be good if you were going to use the factory length shocks with just a leaf, but there's no way they would work with the 4-inch blocks. So yeah, there's that. And like I said, nothing really else tonight, but I'll update you tomorrow. I'll start with this driver's side, and then move on over to this side. Yeah, and then kind of bad news for these tires. I'm gonna get rid of them already. It's disappointing, but yeah, I'll have to do another video on that. So that just sucks, but because I love them. Love the traction, love the way they look, like the way they ride, but yeah. So, and then there's that. So in case anybody can put A and B together, what's going on there? That's something I've been wanting to do since like 2007. So kind of exciting, but who knows when that'll actually be done. But anyways, yeah, so that's what's up, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow when I get into the rest of this leaf and block. Thanks. All right, and I'm back here. Sorry for the horsey type voice, you know. I went for a run, and haven't been a couple weeks and it was cold, so now I'm like coughing and crap. So, anyways, got this driver's side separated from the leaf pack. Outside edge U-bolts went fine, came out just fine. They all came out fine. I soaked them overnight in some penetrant. The inside ones I didn't have enough angle with the clearance to get my impact in here, so those I had to do the old-fashioned way with a long ratchet and a breaker bar to get them out, but those separated just fine. Yeah, so no issue there separating these. Now I've dropped down the axle as far as it'll go, so it's completely being held up over on the other leaf pack, and so I don't have enough space to get my new ReadyLift 4-inch block to replace the 2-inch block in there with in this gap. So it's just about like 3.5 inches. So I'm about a ½ inch short there. Plus, to get the add a leaf in there, I need to get another, basically inch of clearance. So I got to drop this guy down at least another couple inches just to give me a little bit of play. So if anybody's doing this, now you know if you're going to try and do one side at a time like I was planning to do. Can't do that if you're doing a block. Now, if you were just doing an add a leaf, you could totally do one side at a time. That way the axle's not going everywhere on you, and that would be the way I would certainly recommend. But yeah, so I guess I'm going to go over to the other side now and get the tire off on that side. The whole truck's in there. And get that tire off. Get that other shock disc pulled off of the lower shock mount on the axle tube, and a separator, and drop her down on another jack and go from there. But yeah, I figured I'd update you where I was at, and now you know you can't do one side at a time if you're adding a block. You could if you're just adding a leaf. So catch up with you in a little bit. Okay, back here a few minutes later. Well, actually a few hours, but yeah, haven't been on this the entire time, but did end up fighting a couple of the stupid things as usual with suspension. Let's see, the pin didn't want to come off, so I had to cut the old one off, angle grinder. And then trying to get that add a leaf in between this bottom leaf and that pin in, and hold it all together and keep it clamped, and do all that by yourself. It's not exactly the fastest or easiest thing, but pretty much got it done. And then yeah, got the 4-inch ReadyLift block in there with some assistance from a friend. Had to just basically push down on the axle stand on that, and that gave just enough room that I could weasel that guy in there, and now she's in. So this side's 95% done, so the only thing left to do on this side is just torque these guys to spec. Once I lower it down to I'll torque them once I actually have a load on there. The vehicle's just sitting on the ground, so I'll just come over the tire and torque those to spec. So otherwise, yeah, there's that. Looks like I'm going to need about a 3.5 inch longer shock to line up with my mount at the axle tube there. So that's where we're at. So tomorrow night I'll hit the other side and get this thing back down on the ground. That ReadyLift kit does have basically a shim for the carrier bearing on the 2-piece drive shaft. So I'll put it in, and then I actually got a new carrier bearing, actually all 3 that it could be sitting over there. Obviously I'll return the other 2 that I don't use, but got those sitting over there. Looks like it's just feels like an aluminum just shim that goes up under there, an effort to maintain a proper drive shaft angle. I'm surprised that these blocks don't have any taper to them at all, but I think it'll be fine. So there's that. So yeah, I guess catch up with you guys tomorrow to finish this thing off and go from there. Hey folks, back here again after the passenger side. So got the U-bolts off, before I did that, I clamped the overload down onto the spring as far up as I could, so I get enough room to get that addle leaf in there, because it goes clear up to here. And then back here, got that, so the addle leaf and the addle leaf comes right back to here on this pickup. So yeah, now I'm about ready to separate them. Got a little C-clamp up here clamping this part of the pack, but hopefully won't get any movement out of it. Second time, now I know where to really put my clamps on these springs. Is nice knowing, so recommend there and there. And then I just found something that I had laying around, piece of metal to act as a spacer, so I'm not compressing this overload all the way and potentially you know, overarching it and bending it. But yeah, so now I've got to get my pin out, and on the other side I forgot to mention that you know, that did become an issue, so you know, like I said, I did have to cut it out. So we'll see if I got to do that here. I'll try and hit it with the impact first. But yeah, so loosened the U-bolts and had pressure up on the axle, right, and so dropped her down with the jack, and I can pull this guy out, but yeah, so ready to go here. This side's definitely was less seized than the other, so for some reason, so hopefully this pin wants to come out easy and I don't have to cut it too, but if I do, I do, I guess. Before I do start loosening this though, I'm going to throw one more clamp now right here in the middle, just to keep this as much together as I can, and then I'll loosen it slowly, just to prevent this lower part from this guy from dropping out of here, because I mean obviously these are held up by the rest of the spring pack, and yeah, so that's the plan here. So I'll get to loosening these and see how that goes, and come back with you in a minute. And back again about 30 seconds later. So grabbed the impact and snapped my sucker right off in there. So the rest of the pin's sitting in the pack right now, so I guess I'll grab the hammer and a punch and push that sucker right on out of there. Yeah, so I guess it's better than the nut being seized, so hopefully the rest of the pin isn't seized in there, because I'm not looking forward to pounding that out. It didn't even seem to loosen up on the bottom part of the pin at all down there, so give her a tap-tap-a-roo and see if she come on out of there. If not, you know, I guess sure, we'll get her out of there somehow. But yeah, snapped that right off. See if that'll focus on anything, but that's wild. Yeah, snapped it right on off. Crazy. One thing to note, this pin on the new ones from ReadyLift are substantially bigger than nut, I should say, on the pin, and so you gotta drill out your I guess what would that be, like your perch? I don't know, because there's your perch, but basically the piece that the U-bolts go through. Can't think of what that's called all of a sudden. Anyways, check it back with you in a minute. Oh, welcome back. So passenger side done in a jiff. So yeah, after I bored out my hole up on this upper plate so that the bigger nut will fit, got that all in. I mean, this side just went in so much faster than that other side, because that other side was dropped. I'm doing it one side at a time. Beautiful. Yeah, no real complaints. Now I will say though, these U-bolts were from ReadyLift with the you know, the block kit, right? And so the U-bolts have the same thread pitch, diameter, so on and so forth as the factory ones. So that saved me here, because the both the nuts on that I ended up threading onto there just by chance, that I put them on as tight as I could by hand, put them a couple strokes with a ratchet, and then started sinking them down with the impact, and they instantly didn't go anywhere. They just pretty much locked up on me. So stopped, Tried to back them off. They weren't really doing anything, so I backed them off real slow with the ratchet. And anyways, both of the other gold nuts that were on there from ReadyLift stripped out this U-bolt. So what I did is I trimmed took the cutoff wheel and just trimmed about a 1/4 inch off those top threads that were stripped out, maybe 3/8. And then I used the factory forward nuts that came on the pickup on the original U-bolts and ran those down. So that was perfect. So that kind of saved me, but I will say that's the only thing so far with this ReadyLift kit that's been kind of a disappointment was the I guess the U-bolts themselves. But got these, I torqued them down to just 130 for now, and then once I get the out on the ground with the tires so on, I'm gonna sink them to the 145, 150-ish that I think the spec is on these. So that's that. Now I started messing with the carrier bearing drop, and I also have some new carrier bearings. Obviously I didn't know which size it was because you got 3 options for this pickup, so I got all 3 here. Anyway, so it's getting a little bit late, but I don't want to be pounding on crap down here with people above me. So anyway, so I'll just get to the rest of this tomorrow. But yeah, that's kind of that process in itself, I suppose. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, somebody must have been in here and replaced this carrier bearing at one point. I didn't remember it ever being in my service records, but whoever did, they definitely didn't, must have lost some of the hardware, because there's 2 different sizes of bolts and everything, not factory, up under on that carrier bearing bracket. And so, but this carrier bearing hasn't been replaced since I've had the pickup, and so it's got about 200K on it, and it is definitely toast. So in the process of separating it out to get that replaced, and so we'll have a nice fresh carrier bearing drop, and should be good. So I'm just kind of surprised with how bad that carrier bearing was. I wasn't seeing any weird noise or vibration out of it, to be honest. So that's that, and catch up with you guys, I guess, tomorrow, and I tinker with this thing for a little bit longer. And yeah, have a good night. All right, back again here, wrapping the video up. So everything's on the ground, everything's good to go. Haven't driven it yet, but yeah, so she's got the 4-inch block and the addle leaf in it now. So once again, I replaced the factory 2-inch block with a 4-inch block. So in theory, giving me 2 inches of lift there over what I had. And then adding in the addle leaf itself was maybe somewhere around that, let's just say 3/4 inch thick, 5/8, something like that. And then, obviously it's going to give a little bit more arch to the spring pack, which indeed is true. This thing is stiff as a board now. So it should be really nice with the trailer, but I don't know about overall ride quality now. It's probably going to be just like a 1-ton, which is kind of what I was expecting, but we'll see. So anyways, now with that said, that amount of lift, I should say, I got way more lift out of it than I was expecting. So I'm a little unsure if it's actually going to end up staying this way for long. So the front is at 41.5, and before all this shenanigans with the block and the addle leaf, my rear without the trailer was sitting dead levels as well. So it was sitting at 41.5 in the back, actually. So, leveling kit did its job. After it settled, took a while, but was sitting level. So now, and I wanted to put the rake back in it for when I have the trailer on and so forth. And this trailer with really no tongue weight on it, just dry essentially. sagged the truck 2.5 inches. So I'm thinking, all right, if I can get it up about 2.5 inches, which was what I was expecting to see, about maybe 3 at most with the block and the addle leaf, I'd be real happy. So long story short, I am now in the back, once again up from 41.5 inches without the trailer. Now I'm sitting at 46. So I have a 4.5 inch gain in the rear of the truck. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, like I said, how long it stays this way. But with all that said, I guess I'm going to drive it around for a couple months. Because I won't have time to mess with it for at least until May at this point with everything I'm going to have going on. And then maybe I might go get a big load of firewood with the gooseneck with it and see if I can break in that addle leaf spring a little bit and soften her up. So maybe if she settles down, like the front, initially, I think when I put the leveling kit in, if memory serves me, it was sitting at like 43. So it sagged down to 41.5. So maybe I might get that inch, maybe I'll get an 1.5 inch drop, 2 inch, who knows. Drive it around and let things kind of settle in that spring pack now. And that would be ideal, right? If I could get the back end to be 2 inches higher than the front, it's around that 43.5 range. But this 46 is just a little much for me. Now, with the tailgate, for comparison, I'm at 41 inches from the top of the tailgate to the ground. For comparison, that pickups at bone stock is at, I think it's at 38. It's either 38 or 39. And so really not a huge difference there. It's just, you're used to seeing a pickup one way and then you don't. But, these new ones sit so damn high, especially the Ford 1-tons, the new, Luma Duty 1-tons. I know I think they brought them back down a couple inches for, when they did the switch with the tranny, in 2020. But, yeah, I know like the 18s, 17s, 18s sat super, super high. So it's kind of like that now. Now, the last thing I was going to mention on this it was the passenger side leaf pack. When I pulled the pin out of the spring pack, so I just set the impact on here and just went at it real quick, and like within half a second this bolt snapped. But you can see how much this bolt is just corroded, and it's just been reduced in size there sitting in that pack. So that actually made this pin really easy to get out of that spring pack, because this snapped right out at the top. I just pulled it straight out, and then this guy just hit the punch and just pounded it right down and out. So this one, like I said, that's why this the passenger side went so much quicker. See, this pin just came out nice. Now I will say that's kind of worrisome, right? I mean, considering this pickup's never been in a really rust belt type climate, pretty well kept, cleaned. I mean, underneath the frame's in real nice shape. No real rust issues, but that does surprise me. So sure, one day if somebody had pulled this thing apart and expected that pin to be holding your pack, they just would have popped out. So yep, as things get old, I mean, I might just you just gotta kind of anticipate as you pull this stuff apart, you might not get it back together necessarily. These bolts and things get old. So that was kind of interesting there. And then here I've got the factory carrier bearing bolt, because I had to drop it down, so I had some new bolts for it. But that's aluminum spacer. This was this was a piece of that U-bolt that's stripped out that I cut the top off of to utilize it. This is the top of the bolt from the other side that I had to cut off. So it's this guy, the spring, the pin. So yeah, and that's another bolt that was on the carrier bearing. So I'm pretty sure somebody been in there at one point, but that carrier bearing hasn't been changed in 200,000. So anyways, that's that. And I don't know. Hope somebody finds this video interesting. If not, I'm sure I'll look back at it in like a couple years and remember what the hell I did. So as far as tools for this guy, you know, nothing out of the ordinary, but pretty much a plethora of metric sockets. I think I used everything from a 14 to a 24 with only like a couple skips in there that didn't touch. So yeah, take it easy and talk to you soon.